Hello and welcome to the first episode of season 2 of Into the Wonderverse. Very excited to be back. I'm Hannabeth Gardener.
And I'm producer Nick.
And we have an amazing show for you today. We're calling this our little mailbox episode. We're getting you warmed back up into us. But we do have something extra special. I have managed to get us a written interview with Russell Dauterman, aka the person that makes the most amazing Scarlet Witch drawings for the comics. He has done the last few covers of this season, and I just cannot wait to give you his answers to the questions. Nick has them on the laptop. He's going to read them for me, and I'm going to... Well, yeah, was it the other way around?
It was the other way around, yeah.
I
was going to do you were going to do the questions, and I was going to do the
That
answers.
makes sense. And then we have asked you guys for your questions, and Nick has never seen any of them, which I think is funnier, because he is going to struggle more answering these questions, but I've seen them. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in your questions. We really do appreciate it. We love to hear from you guys. We will answer your questions anytime. So if you do have questions for us, feel free to DM them to us. We are always accepting mail. My inbox is always open. So is Nick's. And of course, we have our email address as well. But before we get into any of that, obviously there's been news since we were last here.
There's been news?
Of course there's been news. And not just because our darling Sebastian Stan has been nominated for an Oscar. Yay, my Shayla. Are you happy with Sebastian's nomination?
For a different man, isn't it?
No, it's for The Apprentice.
Is it for The Apprentice?
I know, I can't believe it.
To be honest, the Oscar nominations this year, I kind of just glazed over them because nothing really kind of has really enraptured me over the last year or so.
You were not changed for good. By Wicked. I'll be supporting Wicked, obviously, all the way at the Oscars. Nick is crying film bro tears, but it's fine.
I'm not a film bro. I just... No, I have general kind of discontent towards the Academy this year, but Sebastian Stan apparently has done a really, really good job for The Apprentice. So.
Have you not seen it yet?
No, I've hardly seen anything for the...
So I'm halfway through my watch. I need to go and see the Timothy Chalamet Bob Dylan.
Complete unknown.
Yeah, for some reason I wanted to call it like a different unknown, but that's just me combining Sebastian Stan's movie with his. But that is not the news, but I just did want to congratulate Sebastian. Obviously, we've had Agatha all along go out for a couple of nominations, not win anything really, which, you know, I kind of saw coming, but I'm glad that they're getting the recognition that they deserve. There's been a lot of rumblings about season 2. It's got an IMDb page now, which is always a good sign. Catherine Hahn has been implying that there's something kind of in the works. So I would expect to see an announcement maybe this summer, maybe at Comic-Con, because I think that we are going to see at Comic-Con this year actual announcements going out again, rather than just promoting projects that we already know about.
What comes first, D23 or Comic-Con?
Comic-Con, usually. D23 is usually at the end of August. But I'd expect to see H. Hall being a little bit more exciting this year, I think. I think we might get a full cast for Secret Wars and Doomsday, maybe. Possibly, we'll see. But
teaser for Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four will be out by then, won't it? Fantastic Four is midway this year.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so. We'll definitely have had Thunderbolts and
Frantic Googling.
Captain America, yeah. We're very professional in this show. We know everything all the time.
It is 2025, yeah. It is due out this year. We've not seen a proper trailer yet.
No, any day now, apparently, we're getting a proper
That's why
trailer.
I'm getting kind of a bit...
They're really focused on Captain America now, trying to sell that. And we've seen some Thunderbolts promotional material.
They're trying to sell Captain America?
They are. Have you not seen all the popcorn buckets and alternative posters? But again, in news, Teddy Fresh, which is so random, have a Scarlet Witch skirt and top, which of course Nick will be modeling very soon for us. As soon as we come up with the like 72 quid or something that it cost to buy the skirt individually. Also, we got a release date for the No More Mutants Funko Pop.
You weren't impressed with that, would you?
No, I feel like not me specifically, but everybody has been begging for this Funko Pop. They've been screaming, crying, throwing up for it. And I just feel like they did not deliver on what it should look like in terms of the iconicism of that panel. I think it would have worked better as a comic cover Funko, purely because you would have had the background. I think it would have given more space. I think it should have been a moment, like a pop moment with I would have paid more money to have way more detail than we got. I also don't understand why her expression is the way it is. why she's not crying. I feel like they've shoved this out when everyone's been asking for this for so long. It is maybe one of the most requested figures is to see her in this outfit. And I feel like also her hair is the wrong color, which is really disappointing.
That was one of your biggest gripes when you first
Well,
saw
I just
it.
feel like it's not the first time they've done this. The hair color has been wrong so many times. It doesn't, like, get some eyes. It's my, like, I'm sorry. It's just the way I feel about it. Obviously, we also, since I was last here, we've had the release of all 3 Agatha All Along Funko Pop so far. They stay sold out, so I cannot see why we wouldn't get a second wave of Funko Pops with how popular they have been. And that's what we have to keep doing, guys, is buying the merch, and then we will get...
Do you have all 3?
No, I have... Death is on order, but hasn't come. I have Agatha, and I won't be buying Billy. Just
don't care.
I just don't care. Also, like, if I go down that path, then I would have to start collecting Billy stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't have the space nor the want to do that.
Nor the care.
No, I just don't. I love him in that, like, good for you. And I see that he is representation for the twink community. Good for them. But it's just not for me, personally.
Yeah.
But, like, pop off. No problem with it. We have had the announcement that Wanda will be on the cover of a comic that is canon to the MCU. So in TVA number 5, she will be in it. And this should be transitionally between Multiverse of Madness and WandaVision. So I think it'd be very interesting to see what is in this comic. Very excited for that one.
When's that due?
I think it's April.
Okay, I'm going to quickly look at that.
And then we have had the announcement that apparently we are not getting an issue 11 of Scarlet Witch, but we are getting something else. I don't know if it's going to be another soft reboot of the comic, but what I have to say is, guys, if you want to see Wanda continue, you're going to have to buy this comic. Whether you like it or not, I see a lot of complaints online about the content of Scarlet Witch comics, but they're not going to get any better if you don't buy them. If they think there's no interest, then we just simply won't get any more comics. So I need you guys to start going out and buying these comics and being passionate about them. And yes, sharing your opinions. But if we don't get the purchases, then we will see Wanda fade into comic oblivion again.
So they're just giving up that storyline for whatever.
I don't know. I saw Steve Orlando saying on Twitter that there won't be a Scarlet Witch 11 cover, but that he knows what's coming next, is what I saw him saying online. For me, okay. So I've decided to come out as a Wanda Simon truther. I've always kept very neutral on the podcast about what I ship, but I'm a Wanda Simon girly. And so I was so excited to see them together in the Astonishing Avengers Infinity comic this week. Wanda looked incredible. Lovely to see Simon. Now that he's coming into the MCU, I just have so much hope that we're going to see them together in the future. Nick, what's your opinion on Wanda and Simon?
Is this one of the questions, or is this
No, it's my personal mailbag question to you.
the personal mailbag? So,
do you know it is April of 2025?
April, yeah, I literally just got it. Yeah. So, so Elizabeth Olsen and Abdul Mateen II are both, hot people.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to see hot people hook up.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say Paul Bettany is unattractive. He's just like you're comparing apples and oranges here,
Yes.
Like Paul Bettany is very much like an apple, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is very much an orange. Where you know what I mean? It's an analogy
so
that I'm going with.
You're saying that he appeals to you visually
as somebody who's allergic to oranges. I don't know. To answer that question,
since we're on this subject of kind of comic storylines, we've got a bunch of questions about what we want from the comics, so I think I might dive into some of those.
Are you sure you want to do that first, or do you want to do our actual interview first?
I think we'll do some viewer questions and come back to them.
Sure.
So Wanda's attorney asked us, as huge Wanda fans, what do y'all want to see next in the character in the MCU and the comics, and said, love the pod. Thank you so much, Wanda's attorney.
Thank you.
You don't deserve the hate you get on Twitter. And for me, I want to see her in the MCU definitely going back to her hero arc, and I want to see her hook up with Simon. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to see Wanda get to have complicated relationships. I think that there is a move in media in general that women are not allowed to have romantic wants. They're not allowed to want a family. And that, like, while also being independent, Wanda is so powerful that her desire for love and a family does not diminish her as a feminist icon. And I want to see her get to explore that want for love and connection, because God, doesn't she deserve it? And I also hope that for her in the comics. We have seen for a long time now Wanda standing on her own 2 feet. Her relationship with Jericho was broken up for no reason as far as I can see. And I want to see her making those complicated relationships in the comics and in the MCU. My biggest hope for her in the comics is that we finally get an answer to who's the daddy, because it's been too long. I think it's time to head back to her being a mutant. It's time to recanonize her as Magneto's daughter, because neither of those storylines ever needed to be dropped. What about you, Nick?
Comic-wise, I have no idea where we're at with Wanda. Where am I? 2011 at the moment?
You're in 2011.
I'm in 2011, so I've read Children's Crusade. So with the comics, no idea. MCU, I don't know, I just want to perhaps see her alive.
Thank you.
Maybe that's
Please.
the simplest answer. Just maybe alive and maybe not an outright villain, I guess.
I would love to see an adaptation of Children's Crusade.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't think it's going to happen in the way it is in the comics, because Downey is this awful version of Doom.
Yeah, and we've also got the Young Avengers, which are not really young anymore.
No, they're not. And because House of Maximoff also asks us, what are your hopes for the current Scarlet Witch run? I am hoping to see a wider storyline. I would like to see less kind of weekly baddie and more, I want to see what's next for Wanda. We have finally left behind kind of her House of M arc. And I would really like to see her, like, what does it mean now that she is absolved of her past? Like, how does she move forward? Because, supposedly she's gone crazy twice because she's been unable to have children. She's been unable to maintain this relationship, but she has no baggage anymore. And so I think that she should be seeking out connection. There's no reason for her not to. I would love to see her meet up with some of her friends, Captain Marvel, because she's literally on a team with her in the Avengers, and we see very little of them interacting. And I love to see female friendship thrive. I'd like to see her with Jessica Jones again. I think their interactions are always interesting. If we're going to do this flirtationship with Matt Murdock, let it mean something. I want to see Wanda building long-lasting relationships that have an impact on the comics going forward. I see what's going on in the Storm run and in the Jean Grey run, and I just want that for Wanda. I want her to actually get to be a focal point of the comic universe, and I think there is absolutely no reason why that can't happen. I actually really loved the Last Door concept, and I see how that's been really great kind of as a week-on-week thing, but I almost saw that as kind of your first season of Criminal Minds, where it's very week on week to begin with. But I think it's time for a clearer, more overarching storyline going forward. And Nick's still in 2011, so he's just hoping Wanda can redeem herself at some point.
Well, she has in Children's Crusade. She's alive.
You think that she redeemed herself in Children's Crusade?
A little bit.
I love that for you. I love your hope. We also have someone just saying, Marcelo Alves P3 just wanted to say that he loves the art, and I want to say thank you, Lily, for always giving us the most amazing podcast art, because we couldn't do it without you. Say thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily.
More.
Thank you, Lily.
Perfect. And then Scarlet Red 616 said, what Wonder Wig served matriarch in WandaVision? This is a question I just need Nick to answer. What Wonder Wig served matriarch?
Matriarch.
Yeah, matriarch.
Is the snapping of the fingers meant to help me with the definition?
Yeah, like mommy. Like which one was brought you to your knees? Which wig was giving wig? What was serving to you?
Can I pass this question? No.
This is the hard-hitting questions that we need you to answer.
I know. Because the outfit looked really good, I think I'm going to go with a 90s one.
Okay, because they were all wigs, because Lizzie Olsen's hair was never red.
Yeah.
So, I guess. Okay. I think her cuntiest wig was probably the 80s when she had the little like ponytail with all the curls. The perm was absolutely giving iconic. I did, however, love her 50s wig a lot. Like, I think Elizabeth Olsen really suits the 50s styles. I love seeing her in period pieces. But honestly, all of those wigs were wigging. They were perfect. At no point was I sometimes I watch TV and I go, wig. But I wasn't so much saying that with Lizzie's wigs. I think the wig work on WandaVision was fantastic. Then we've got, can you, Milanovics S_S?
Sure.
What's a costume from the comics you would love to see adapted as Wanda's next suit in the MCU? Love the podcast. Thank you so much. I would love to see the 2016 suit adapted, or obviously her current suit, the Hellfire Gala look. I would love to see a more complicated tiara going forward. Kind of as she gains more power, I would like to see a kind of more complicated tiara. And the 2016 look just lives rent-free in my mind. I think it gives a lot of room for movement. And let Wanda have a cape. I love a cape.
You're against Edna Mode with the no cape.
Well, I think that Wanda doesn't have the problems that...
No, she doesn't. No, Edna Mode never met Wanda, so...
No. What outfit would you like to see adapted, Nick? I love asking you fashion questions. What is your fashion taste?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know.
Send him hate.
Yeah, do that.
And then our final question that I curated from Twitter is, do you anticipate Wanda and Agatha reuniting in the MCU? And I think that is completely inevitable. I can't wait to see it, especially if Agatha is hanging around with Billy at the time. I would love to see Wanda's reaction to that.
Ghost Agatha as well.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, I absolutely expect to see them reuniting. In fact, I think that Agatha will end up playing some sort of role in Children's Crusade just based on kind of the way that things are going. But thank you for all your questions on Twitter. We will come back to more questions that I have from elsewhere, but we're going to go over to our amazing interview with Russell Dauterman. I want to thank him again for giving us this interview, for taking the time out to answer my questions. And I hope I asked the kind of questions you guys would like to know. Honestly, he's one of my favorite Wanda artists of all time, and the fact that he gave us the Hellfire Gala look will forever live in my heart. So I'm going to read the questions that I asked, and Nick is going to read his very kind responses, and give him all the love in the world. What were your main inspirations when designing Wanda's Hellfire Gala look? You mentioned in your original interview about it that you were inspired by magical iconography. Could you elaborate on that at all?
Genuinely, I wanted to make an iconic Scarlet Witch costume that felt recognisable but modern. Maybe too lofty a goal, but I tried. I researched and picked out what I thought were the best and iconic elements of Wanda's previous costumes. I combined them with new elements to make something that felt fresh but classic. So in the new costume, we've got nods to her classic look, Force Works, Onslaught era, the 2015 solo, and the MCU crown, plus new elements. The idea for the magic hair came from her sister Polaris's Dark Seduction era costume and her son Billy Starfield's costume. The rings have symbolism to Wanda's life too, if you want to read maybe too much into them. The magic iconography in part comes from the starry magic, but especially the triple goddess-esque symbol on her leggings. That symbol is adapted from her Onslaught era costume, but I simplified it so that there were only 3 symbols and focused on the moon symbols on the top and bottom.
You also said that Wanda's current look was inspired by some of her older looks. Do you have a favourite and one you particularly wanted to pay tribute to?
I really love the Onslaught era costume that I think debuted during The Crossing. That's an awesome look and has a lot of unique elements for the Scarlet Witch costume. That was a big inspiration for my design, the silhouette with the skirts and the dark light costume contrast.
If you were able to answer how much artistic freedom does Marvel give you when you're asked to redesign a costume the way you did with the Scarlet Witch? Did you present a series of costumes and then they settled on one, or did they have a list of requirements for you?
The amount of freedom on a Marvel design varies, as does the amount of revisions. I always do a lot of design options for myself and then boil those down into one design I think is best. Sometimes I'll send Marvel just the one and then incorporate any feedback into revisions. Other times I'll send options. Depends on the assignment what the editor is looking for. When I first designed a version of this Wanda costume for the X-Men's Hellfire Gala, I had a ton of freedom. Some of those gala designs came with the guidelines, but most were open-ended. I approached the designs with the idea of creating high-fashion superhero costumes, as opposed to superheroes in high-fashion clothes. For Wanda, I designed what I thought would be a classic Scarlet Witch costume, what I want to see as a fan of the character, and up the fashion and the drama with her beaded headpiece, heels, and hair. I only presented one option for that, and Marvel liked it. That's not always the case. Sometimes things take several revisions and incorporate several rounds of notes. When the Scarlet Witch solo series was starting and I came on board as the cover artist, the editors asked if I would design Wanda's costume, and they suggested doing a modified version of the gala look. I jumped at that chance. I worked with the editors to modify the headpiece. The gala one was too complicated. I ended up doing more of a classic crown, but still in the shape of a 2015 tiara, with the moon shape that ties to the leg symbols and to cut of the skirts. I wanted to keep some of the detailing in the crown, so I did design inspired by Wanda's wonderful MCU crown. The rest of the costume is pretty much the same as my gala design, but with practical tweaks. Higher neckline, lower heels, etc.
In the same vein, you gave us the amazing cover Avengers Forever, where you drew all of Wanda's previous costumes. Was there one you'd been particularly itching to draw?
Definitely the Onslaught era costume. Also the 2015 solo look designed by Kevin Wilder. I think that one's beautiful. Recently I've come to love the variation of Wanda's classic costume that you can see in the upper right of that cover. I have an incredible piece Craig Russell Scarlet Witch poster framed in my office of Wanda in that look. In retrospect, I wish I would have featured that costume more, maybe swapped its placement with that costume's modern version.
We haven't gotten to see your Wanda in street clothes a lot. Are there any particular people or fashions that you draw from when giving Wanda an off-duty look?
I recently got to design street clothes for Wanda on the Scarlet Witch issue 9 cover. I was very excited to do that. I've liked in recent years how Wanda's style has been pretty chic, and I wanted to carry that through, with a bohemian flair. I was excited to put her in green, a nod to her first cover appearance and the many times in decades past when her powers were green. My favourite bit is the bracelet rings.
Rumours have swirled that your new design for Lore was based on Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda in Multiverse of Madness. Can you confirm or deny?
The idea was definitely not to make Lore MCU Wanda, not at all. That said, the MCU has some incredible costume design, and it would be silly not to incorporate the best bits of that into the comics. I really love the MCU Scarlet Witch designs in WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. These costumes are incredible, and I love Elizabeth Olsen's performance. WandaVision is one of my favourite shows. So when the chance to design Lore came up, I thought that would be a great opportunity to incorporate the skirt silhouette for MCU. The rest of Lore's design came from the modern goth fashion, Maleficent and other macabre art. The purple-grey skin was a way to make her look undead and more zombie-like. She's the queen of witchcraft hell, and I think that helps her look the part. Her costume colours are the inverse of 616 Wanda, more or less. 616 being mostly light red with dark accents and dark hair, and Lore's costume being mostly dark with light accents and light hair.
My favourite cover of yours is your recent cover featuring Wanda, Agatha and Amaranth as Maiden, Mother, Crone. It's actually my phone background. Do you have a favourite cover that you've worked on, and what inspired it?
That cover is my favourite too. That's awesome that it's your background. I'm glad you liked it. It's my phone background too. That cover is my favourite piece of art I've ever done. The inspiration was definitely to do a triple goddess piece. I knew the issue would involve those characters and thought they would fit the theme perfectly. Also sorceresses and their apprentices. Originally I had different magical symbols surrounding them, but then thought to lean into the Maiden Mother Crone idea and go with the phases of the moon. The main symbol each witch is holding has her own specific colour and represent her phase of the moon. Then the colours in between blend as the moon phases change.
If you could redesign any character's comic suit, which one would you choose, and could you give us an idea of what that might look like?
I love to redesign Wiccan and Agatha. I absolutely loved Agatha all along. The costume design by Daniel Salon in the team is incredible. I think live-action costumes have a lot more detailing than is practical for comic costumes, but I definitely want to take inspiration from those designs. I love Goth Witch Billy and want his sweater.
You've designed some amazing looks. Which one would you like to see appear on the big screen?
My Scarlet Witch costume design for sure. Any iteration of that, starry elements or not, would be amazing to see. Really low, my dream is for an action figure of that design.
Me too, Russell. I cannot go on without saying, please, please, please listen. If anybody who designs figures is listening to this, please just give us one. We're all begging. We're all pleading. And finally, Finally, I have so many amazing artists who listen to the podcast and who visit my page. Do you have any advice for drawing the Scarlet Witch they might be able to use?
I gotta say, I love seeing fan art of my Wanda designs. I try to save them and send them to Steve and the editors. Such a joy to see. That art has been amazing. The attention to detail in the costumes makes me happy, and I appreciate seeing the different art styles. Maybe that would be my tip, to lean into your individual style. Once you learn the basics of drawing, etc., that's when style really comes into play and can set you apart from the other artists. Do the art you want to see. Also, I just wanted to say thanks to the Wanda fandom for making me feel welcome. Wanda is one of my all-time favourite characters, and getting to draw her is a dream come true. I really appreciate all the kind words and hope you like what's coming up.
Thank you again so much for giving us this interview. I will be publishing the whole thing on paper on my page for everyone to read. This is my dream interview, so I don't know how I'm gonna go up from here, because this is everything I ever wanted. It was so kind of him to give us all of this insight, and for being so honest and giving us such at-length answers. It was more than I ever could have hoped for. Honestly, they say don't meet your heroes, but every interaction I've had with him, I feel so privileged to have this information. I agree with him so much. I love his designs, and I can't wait to see what he does with Wanda next. I honestly, that interview just warmed my heart. I'm so happy, even thinking about it. Every time I look at it in my inbox, I'm oh yeah, I got the interview.
I just want to say, Russell, I hope I did justice to your words. The other thing, one of the big things I want to take away from that is really the last thing he was talking about in terms of all your fan artists out there. Honestly, as somebody who enjoys seeing art of any kind online, just lean into your style. Find your style and go with it. I cannot stress that enough. It's one of the best things about comic art is that some of the art out there is really something else, something special. And if you're able to do something that's individual to you, then go for it. And especially when it's combined with a character that you love, you really kind of get that sense of love and care into it. So that would be really my main takeaway from it.
I love to post any Wanda art that I see on my story. Honestly, send me your art. I just like to look at it. I don't have any control or anything, but I'll post it. And also let Lily draw Wanda always.
Yes.
I've got some questions from Instagram next. Are you ready? Do you feel ready to answer Instagram questions?
Sure.
Okay, what's your favourite scene in WandaVision? And that is from John Winner 3.
Is this directed at me, or is this
both of us?
Is an open forum? Favorite scene in WandaVision? Good question.
One of my favorite scenes is obviously the confrontation between Wanda and Agatha in the basement, when Agatha's my thoughts weren't available to you toots. Never were. I love that villain reveal. I think it was a really strong part of the show. Obviously, Agatha all along, the song. And I also really, really love the magic show scene between Wanda and Vision early on, when she's finding ways to convert the real magic into fake magic, is one of my favorite moments.
I think mine is probably when the TV format starts to turn in the episode, which is inspired by shows like Modern Family and The Office, where she's talking to the camera like those shows do, and then you hear the voice, which obviously turns out to be Agatha, basically asking her a question, which really kind of sets her on edge and really kind of
I love when she runs the credits over the top of their argument. When he goes, "You can't control me like you can the others," then she just rolls the credits.
And honestly, that's probably one of the moments where I really kind of like that moment. Kind of any moment as well where it plays with that television format, I guess.
If you could spend a whole day with Wanda, what would you do? And that's from Becky CXS. Bevy CXS. I would be girl, do you need therapy? Do you need help? And I would be hey, you have a lot of magic. Do you know how to make money off that? I like to fly. I really like to fly for a bit too. I would just literally I would hug her. She just needs support. I would just support her.
Yeah.
Because I don't know I don't know if she wants support from me.
You would probably give her advice just dump this, go to Simon.
Yeah. I would be hey, they have the same brain waves and there's so many less problems. Also, he can give you biological children. I'm sorry.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Moving on. Chaos B Hex. I do know her. I don't know why I'm pronouncing this like this. Becca. What would you want Wanda's next appearance / storyline to be? I imagine she's talking about MCU. I'd love her to pop up in Wonder Man. Like, it's not going to happen, but I would just love to see it. Do you know what I mean? I just think it would be so fun if she got to appear in like a fun, non-threatening way.
Yeah. To be honest, knowing the Russos, she's probably just going to pop up in Doomsday to do something like,
I
grand.
do think we're getting some form of Children's Crusade.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that's going to go. I think that's where we're headed. I just don't know if I want that to be her next appearance. Yeah. I mean, I think she should be in Vision Quest. Like, this might be a boring answer, but I hope that we get some flashbacks in Vision Quest to, like, how they fell in love. I think that would be very interesting to see. And I think the MCU struggles sometimes to build relationships. Maybe I would believe more in Wanda and Vision if I saw.
Yep.
And then we've got...
Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen do have really good chemistry, so good on-screen chemistry. So.
We've got Nick8 /. Do you think there will be a season 2 of Agatha all along? Yes.
You're firm Delulu, and yes.
Yeah. I just don't see why they wouldn't. They talked about how they want to see more from Agatha and how it's just too successful not to do.
When you were talking about season 2, like literally just before the last episode aired, it was like, it's a bit too early. And I was thinking, I'm kind of thinking, you're going a bit Delulu here with this. But genuinely, jokes aside, like all the signs are pointing to a season 2 of some sort. So
I think it will be kind of a more... I think that they're really struggling right now because I think they wanted to follow Wiccan, but the fandom is around Agatha and Rio. And so I think that's where the creative contrast is coming in. Do you lead into what the audience wants or do you lead into where you thought the story was going? I think is very much where we're at. And I think they should follow Rio and Agatha and let Children's Crusade be Children's Crusade.
Sure.
And then we have... from Marvel 4049, if you had control of the Wanda solo book, what would you do with it creatively and business-wise? Okay, say we are going for another relaunch. I want to be really clear that I am not slagging off Steve Orlando. That happens a lot on Twitter. I think that there is issues with the Wanda book, but I think that, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I would say if I was given full control, this is what I'm going to do. First off, we need an event in this comic to bring people in. Wanda has a relatively small comic fandom, and that is just true. People are way more interested in discussing discourse around her than they seem to be in her character, 9 times out of 10. Here's what I would do. I would get a big event, and it would be Who's the Daddy? I think that would bring in so many people who are interested in the Magnet family as a whole. That is what they're called on Twitter, just so you know. I think that I would bring in Pietro hardcore. He is getting way too little spotlight. I would refocus this on characters people are interested in. And I would say I would pick as a major villain. I would actually people love lore. So I would definitely bring in lore. I would bring in, Mephisto. And obviously we've got Chthon free again. Those are her major forces. But I think we need a driving question. And I think that you could definitely do at least a 10-issue run on Who's the Daddy. And I would reestablish them as mutants. I think that we have been floundering, especially for Pietro, since he has not been a mutant. The High Evolutionary plotline, I have no interest in High Evolutionary. I think that it's a bit of a cop-out. And I would relaunch her that way. Bring in Magneto. That's got its own audience. Let Polaris be a main character in the whole thing. And, that's how I would sell this comic. Business-wise, I think it would do very well. I think it would bring in audiences that Wanda isn't currently getting. And because I like him, would relaunch Simon as her major love interest. I think Vision has his own thing now of what happened with his family. I think that we're too far away from WandaVision. I think that ship has sailed, personally. I love Jericho as a love interest for her too, but I think her and Simon have the history. I would let Wanda get married again. We haven't had a decent wedding that's actually based on love in the comics for a wee while now. And I think that developing letting Wanda have the answer to the question of Simon or Vision and just going with Simon would be such a bold move. And I would make that move.
So I'm going full on like DC Elseworlds kind of thing with my pitch. So a few years ago there was a Doctor Strange comic that had some of the quite frankly the best psychedelic art I've seen since the Kirby era, where you're looking at it and go, wow, that is some impressive ass art. I would love to see art of that caliber and of that kind of style, not psychedelic, but like, kind of just weird ass art and going really, really weird with it, but leaning into one of the things I really liked about Agatha all along is kind of how it played with the tropes of being a witch. And I would really like to see them kind of go down that route a bit and just go like a standalone, like, 9-issue, 10-issue series.
The 2015 run.
I mean, am I basically describing this?
Yeah.
So basically my pitch is this, and like there was a comic called Witches by Scott Snyder and Jock, which has some really, really quite frankly harrowing and disturbing art that I've seen. I think you could really go full on like, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, style, not the TV series, the comic, like going into like really disturbing visions and disturbing kind of nightmare scenarios with leaning into witch lore with her being basically a witch. And that's kind of my idea. And like you said, it sounds like that was the 2015.
Yeah, we're going to get Nick to read that next. From Woohoo 201, what was your favourite WandaVision sitcom era?
Oh, the Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
There's like, I don't have reverence to, I Love Lucy or the Brady Bunch or whichever one was the 80s one, which was kind of a mash, wasn't it? 70s and 80s was kind of a mash, wasn't it? But the 90s one is like from Malcolm in the Middle. Like that's when I was getting into American sitcoms.
The 50s, my favorite is the 50s. I love all the practical effects. I love it. Maxine Maximoff, what's your opinion on Marvel Rivals? Wish I could play, can't.
I wish I could play and can't. As somebody who spent way too much time and money on Overwatch, I'm quite happy I don't have access to it. But from what I've seen, I do watch a lot of gameplay. Whenever
I love the art style.
The art style, yeah, I do like a lot. Whenever I see like gameplay stuff, it does seem to be a fairly how should I say, like it's very Overwatch in its style, so much so that Blizzard, I think, do have a case on their hands. But then again, Blizzard kind of messed up the Overwatch brand, in my opinion. I think Marvel Rivals, it just needs more characters. You've got a whole roster out there and a whole world out there. And,
well, they're releasing one new one a month.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they should kind of just keep going. Just instead of one a month, just get them out there.
Then we've got sti.si/LVIA. Why did you become so in love with Wanda? Mental illness.
Is that your answer?
I was really depressed. I just really love how complex of a female character she is. I really enjoy female characters who can be strong and still have interesting interpersonal relationships. I love Katniss Everdeen and that style of feminist icon, but I very much, as a kind of millennial type girly, I very much went through that feminist thing where it's not, you have to like be very disconnected from relationships in order to be a strong woman. And I love my girls to have personal crises just like me, and mental illness just like me. And I really enjoyed. Also, I love a magical girl. Always have. Was really into the Witch Club growing up. One of my favorite cartoons. The Winx Club as well. I just love magical girls with pretty power effects. And Wanda fits all the boxes. Plus, I loved her complicated family relationship. Her being Magneto's daughter was where I initially got into her because I love a villain. My favorite trope ever is a good girl and villain, which is why I probably like Wanda Doom and no one else does. But yeah, why do you love Wanda so much?
I think
he doesn't.
I think for me, I like Wanda a lot because, and I think my kind of first proper exposure to it was the MCU, but before that, I think I spoke about this on the House of M episode. It was because of House of M. So when she popped up in the MCU, it was like, oh yeah, no, you're all screwed now. Because power scaling, she was, until Captain Marvel popped around, she was the most powerful character. And that kind of, and then that moment in Endgame where she pops up and is like, like at the end of the day, like, I like seeing powerful characters on screen kind of do their thing. And especially, I kind of get a kick out of it when it's women as well, because at the end of the day, like, it shuts up all the, like,
Toxic
fanboys, you know, your toxic masculinity. Are you telling me you don't want to be stood on in high heels by a powerful woman? Like, grow up, guys.
I think we have time for one more question after that. Rayhan asks, what's your favorite episode from Agatha All Along? And mine is probably Lilia's trial, because it was so amazing. That was, I think, peak television. I think that deserved many awards. Lilia's episode, I think, was everything to me, and the acting and the power effects and the way that all those storylines came together, just that, yes, completely.
I think, yeah, definitely in terms of writing, structure, plot, narrative, kind of all those elements kind of working together, and then when you combine in the performances, it will be that episode as well, I think, as well. In terms of, like, you look at how an episode is constructed creatively, I think it is the strongest one of the lot.
Absolutely. Now, I still have some questions left, but I plan to do a couple questions at the end of every episode, continuing on from here. So send any questions that you have into us and we will answer them. Don't worry if you didn't get your question answered today. I have saved them, every single one of them. Especially keep asking Nick fashion questions. He loves those so much and wants to answer so many more of them. On the next episode, we will be talking comics again. Obviously, we'll have our news updates. I haven't told Nick which comic run we're doing yet. Obviously, he's got
Children's Crusade, surely?
We can do Children's Crusade.
Because isn't that the next one after
It
House
is.
of M?
I didn't know if we're going to go back in time or not.
Oh, right, okay.
But no, we'll do We'll come back with Children's Crusade, a nice strong one. Thank you so much again to Russell. If you can't wait for more news from us, and if you'd like to read that interview in full, I will be publishing it over on my Instagram and probably in a Twit longer, Blue Sky longer, all the formats. You can find me over at Into the Wonderverse on TikTok, or The Wonderverse on Instagram, The Wonderverse on Twitter, etc., etc., etc.
So I'm going to, before I do my wrapping up, you will notice there is an extra half an hour on this episode. So that is because, for those listeners, remember, we promised 3 episodes to round out 2024, and only 2 got released. It was the 2 episodes on Disassembled and House of M, and then we promised a 3rd episode where we would just kind of talk about the pod in general. Due to technical issues, Hannah is cowering in the corner now. That 3rd episode didn't get released. So as a treat for you all, that is why there is an extra half an hour added onto this. So please give a listen to that. Do you want to say anything to our listeners about that?
I'm
3rd episode?
very sorry that the 3rd episode didn't get released. I'm too prideful to tell Nick that I had accidentally downloaded the 2nd episode twice, and so I just thought he would forget we recorded a 3rd one.
No. Producer Nick is always on top of these things. So yeah. With that in mind, you can find me on Blue Sky at Nick S. Chandler. My website is superatomovision.com, and my letterbox is the Film Nick, which is also my TikTok handle. So that's where you can find me.
Thank you to Lily for our gorgeous podcast art. Follow her, give her pictures all the likes. She's so talented. We are not worthy ever. Please, obviously, check out the wonderful artwork of Russell Dauterman. He is a god. We are not worthy of him. Our music is by the wonderful Melody Ray Griffith. And if we don't see you, until next time, stay magical. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah,
okay.
This is it.
We're recording shit.
This is the recording, yeah.
Oh, okay. You didn't say action or anything.
I'm going to say action?
I don't know. You usually give me a little, like...
Okay, it's action.
Okay.
Alright, 3 3.
3 out of 3, let's do it. Hello and welcome, members of the Wonderverse. I'm Hannah, and you're listening to episode 18 of Into the Wonderverse, and also the season finale for this year. Season 1. Yay!
Season 1.
How are you feeling? This is
Producer Nick.
how are you feeling? You've now been promoted to a co-host. How are you feeling about that?
It's a promotion I didn't know that was going to happen.
Do you feel happy? Like, in your year retrospective, do you feel like you've come a long way since the days where I just used to read a script and sweat?
So, yeah, I mean, it kind of, I got tapped by you basically because I've done podcasting for a good number of years now, a couple of other movie podcasts. And basically you wanted like another outlet to talk about Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
So you came to me and said, I want to film and record video podcast to put on YouTube. So we did a whole thing back at your old house, set up the camera.
It kept falling. Was it the light that kept falling down?
No, there was no issues.
No, it was. But when we first tried to shoot
the first one, yeah.
In my room.
It was just like the light. Yeah, we were just having a bit of issues setting up because your room was quite cramped.
Yeah, all the Wanders.
All the Wanders behind, and we were trying really hard to do that. And we just kind of just ended up scrapping that idea of doing the video thing because like you felt like
I
doing
couldn't learn the script.
Yeah, you couldn't do the script as well as like being on camera, and like it's a bit different to doing a TikTok. I felt you felt that way, and so I was like, right, well, let's just pivot to audio only, and maybe at some other point we'll do a video. Again, we might do video. We've had another go at doing it, and that's never going to see the light of day. But we did release the audio of that. But we've gone straight with audio and just kind of focus on making this work. And you came to me and said produce this, and I was like, yeah, no problem, do that. And it's just graduated to me doing co-hosting, which is really, really nice because I like talking.
Yeah, he does. It's so interesting because when I first came to Nick, I did not think he wanted to do this show at all. And now he does. Now I think he probably does want to do it. In fact, Nick thinks he has chemistry with everyone. We're going to get him a shirt that says this. It's my favorite thing he's ever said to me. Nick has now become one of my closest friends. And the other week I go, I think we do really well in the podcast. And Nick goes, I have chemistry with everyone. So it's not a me thing. I'm not special. Nick could run a podcast with the dog and it would be fine, apparently.
You can listen to my other podcasts and see how I've done in the past.
Just cheating on me.
No. I mean, one of my other ones, I did a movie review show and I had a revolving door of guests every week. I was just the main host.
You were a podcast swag.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I it's been really good for me. They're doing this because like it's very, very specialized. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I've really struggled with in the past with doing other movie podcasts is everyone's got a movie podcast. Mm-hmm. And you got to do something special to even get yourself get yourself even remotely noticed. The thing about with this and talking about Scarlet Witch, talking about Wanda, is that you're talking about a special interest, which is Marvel, but then you're going in even further and talking about something like Wanda and what Scarlet Witch, and it's just like that's even more refined and that's even more specialized, and it makes it more interesting to go over because I had, apart from until she showed up in the post-credit scene of Age of Ultron, no, it wasn't Age of Ultron, it was Winter Soldier. I had literally no context of who this was. I knew that she was the Scarlet Witch. I was like, yes, reality bending. And I had the context of No More Mutants from House of M. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I read House of M when it came out. No, not long after it came out. And then that was it until Winter Soldier, which was around about the same time she showed up again in the comics, wasn't it? So, like, it's been really interesting for me to engage with you, who's somebody who is a high key expert on her, and learn more about her and have a conversation where I'm coming at this from a newbie and you're coming at this as an expert. And I've really enjoyed these last 17, 18 episodes that we've done, and graduating to a point where I'm able to talk for 2 minutes and.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys for being a captive audience and for giving us the chance to evolve past that first episode where I was nervously reading from a script to this where last couple of episodes I've had a guide of what I'm going to say, but now we have more conversations than we do just me being like, and then when you. I forgot to mention on the House of M episode that obviously it's the 20th anniversary of House of M next year. And we are getting a House of M Funko, which is causing waves on the internet because her hair is the wrong color.
Is it the wrong color for the comic?
It's like red rather than brown, which annoys me because like it's taken straight from the panel, you know, where she's like floating and she says no more mutants. Her eyes are closed when they're actually open in the comic, and she should be crying. Yes. And so it upsets me a little bit that, like, in the anniversary...
She should have Pietro in front of her as well, dead on the floor.
No, I think that would be a bit much.
A dead Funko.
Poor Pietro, he only has one Funko, and you want his next one to be him dead? You are sick. I want... one of my
Magneto pummel him to the ground.
No! One of my biggest hopes for this year in Wanda's comics is also that Pietro finally gets his dues. He has been sidelined for so long, and I've been so glad to see him back in Wanda's runs this year. I'm really hopeful that the Scarlet Witch comic can evolve a little bit this year. Russell Dauterman's art is, I adore it. I would watch him draw anything, but I would just absolutely love if we could make Wanda's arc a little bit less villain of the week and stop seeing her sidelined. And Thor, my biggest beef with the recent, like, they did a vampire run recently, and I was so excited to see what they were going to do with Thor and Wanda, because they're major members of the Avengers team, and they made Thor chained to a wall, and they're like, Wanda's trapped in her own mind. She can't take part. And I was
good guys.
It's very much, these are the two most powerful Avengers.
It's the, I mean, to maybe hint to where I'm going a little bit with what I'm hopeful for, it's the how do you stop Superman question. Yeah.
But it was very like, oh. And we've got another major event going on right now, which is Doom has been made Sorcerer Supreme. And so I'm really hopeful that we can finally kind of tie up. Something I've been disappointed with is the lack of interpersonal relationships we've had in Marvel. It's the MCUification in that the MCU is sexless. Like, you know, obviously we have romances, but it's very much closed mouth kiss. Let's not really develop those relationships beyond, like, they like each other. And comics have always had way more complex relationships in that way. And I would love to see them deal with Wanda and Doom's past better than just, you manipulated me. Because that's not what Children's Crusade was. And I would love to see that that relationship evolve. And please, I would love to see more of my baby Simon Williams make his glorious return to being a major character, because he deserves it. And especially with his, I'm hoping, I don't know what MCU synergy is going to look like for him, because it will require him to be black, if they're which is fine, but like I don't know. Again, I don't know how that's going to play in terms of if they are going to do MCU synergy. I think that would be fine for Simon. He's died so many times, they could probably just kill him off and he could have a new body, and that would make absolute sense. It would not be a problem at all. I think that he is a character who could very easily make a transfer. I mean, Nick Fury did, and it's had absolutely
but there's a difference between turning a character from white to black than black to white, isn't there?
What do you mean?
Well, Simon Williams.
Simon's white in the comics, and now he would become black because he's black in the MCU.
Oh, okay. All right. No. Yeah. All right. I lost for a minute. I got kind of lost in my own head because she said, you know, the MCU is really sexless, and I tried to think when was the last time we saw a kiss in the MCU in the movies, that is. And I think there might be one in Eternals, and I can't remember.
Eternals had Marvel's first sex scene.
Yeah, and then I was trying to think, was it Sharon and Steve?
No, I'm pretty sure that Thor and Jane kissed in
Love and Thunder.
The Love and Thunder.
Oh, I can't
but obviously Agatha and Rio are the most recent kiss in general.
I was thinking of the movies though.
But that's what I mean. The MCU, I think that romance is wholly underrated as a plot line and should be played more seriously. I think some of like the early Spider-Man films' biggest strengths is the relationships between him and Mary Jane, and obviously the Amazing Spider-Man changed Gwen Stacy's fate forever because of how like amazing Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield's chemistry was.
Though.
Yeah, but like it made Gwen Stacy like a.
I mean, Gwen was always popular, though. Gwen was always popular.
Not to the extent she is now.
Yeah, but that's because of Spider-Gwen, though.
Yeah, but why did they do Spider-Gwen?
Spider-Gwen came out, that was Spider-Verse, which is 2014.
Oh, is it? I thought that it was... Well, does that not tie in with Amazing Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was 2014. Spider-Verse was also 2014.
Yeah, but everybody had already fallen in love with... It's the reason why they didn't introduce Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man.
I guess maybe they did do this. I can't remember. I need to remember.
I'm not an expert in this in any way.
Yeah.
I just know how popular
the Spider-Verse, the Edge of Spider-Verse comics. There were 5 of them. There was Spider-Man Noir. There was Mecha Spider-Man, which was done by MCR's Gerard Way.
Mm-hmm.
There was a horror Spider-Man, which was like a 1950s like B movie horror. There was the Spider-Man. Oh god, there was Spider-Gwen, and then there was a 5th one, which for the life of me I can't bloody remember.
I'm about to piss off you and one of my closest best friends. I did not care about Spider-Man at all until Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
That's fine.
And I never cared about Mary Jane because I never got to know her. So like Gwen and Peter's relationship is the reason I ever cared about like, and I did not know that she was always fated to die, and this was like her big thing. Like when I watched that movie, like my big age, it was 2014. So I was, that's the year I went to uni. So like I was 18. Like 18, my big age. I did not know that she was fated to die. I just liked her. And I know that people say that Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy was very much just Mary Jane light. Like I know all that. I've been told that one of my close friends is the biggest Mary Jane stan like ever. So like I know that I'm gonna get a hate mail about this, but that's the reason I cared. And that, you know, that's like, I had seen the Avengers, but the reason I went to see the Avengers movie is because I falsely heard that there was a big love story between Natasha and Clint. Like I just got this random. Also, somebody told me that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers were like a ship, and so I went to see it. Like I had already seen Captain America and Iron Man because my little brother was into it, but like I was always an X-Men girly before. Obviously, well, everybody was. Nobody was an Avengers fan like before. I was already aware of Wanda at that point because I had seen her in X-Men and the Wolverine. That's where my standing began. But like my interest in the MCU was purely the fanships that appeared online, because I really liked Jane and Thor's relationship. I was gutted that Jane wasn't in Avengers when it came out, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that like romantic relationships in like I'm a feminist, as we all know. I was literally last episode like ranting about like women, and
I had a finger pointed in my face.
Well, yes, naturally you were wrong. But like I think that the MCU is constantly trying to find out how to engage women in their media, and they underestimated how much everybody would love the Agatha and Rio connection. And I think they underestimate how much women would care in general, or men too, about romantic relationships. I have to sneeze. Sorry. I think they underestimated how much women or men would care about romantic relationships. And that's something I really hope to see them learn from WandaVision and Agatha all along, is how much romance can drive, the like plots, but not, and it doesn't mean it's not feminist if people love each other. You don't have to be loveless.
No, yeah.
I would love, so my dreams for this year, obviously a Scarlet Witch Solo movie announcement, Agatha All Along season 2 announcement, Wanda confirmed for Vision Quest and Doomsday. What else would I like to see? The extension of Wanda's comic run. Please buy the comics, guys. I keep saying it. Please buy them. I'm begging you. Like, especially people on Twitter that have a lot to say about the MCU. If we could buy the comics, that would be really good. Because if you want to see more comic Wanda as she is, we're going to need those numbers, baby. Like, let's get the numbers out, because we want to show them that we love her just as much in the comics as we do in the MCU. And as a fan of both, I'm telling you, like, go out, show up, read them, please. I would also really, really, really like to see Wanda in any animated show. Any animated Wanda would be brilliant. I would love an animated House of Harkness show. That is a comic. I'm not referencing Agatha All Along's previous name. I'm referencing the comic. You should also read that one. Marvel Unlimited app. Get on it. What are your hopes and dreams for this year?
So today, 19th of December, they released the trailer for Superman, the James Gunn movie. We watched the trailer for that before we went on, and we also watched the trailer for Superman Returns that came out in 2006. Mm-hmm. The reason why I did that to Hannah, knowing that this is a Scarlet Witch podcast, is that there's an inherent feeling of hope in Superman as a character, which is something that Snyder kind of lost track of, or didn't. He was not interested in to begin with. I don't care if I get hate mail for that, but the thing with Superman is this inherent feeling of hope, and I felt that watching the James Gunn trailer. I don't think the trailer was particularly good. I thought visually it was a bit blatantly a James Gunn movie. But there was a thing with Superman Returns trailer that you felt really was just this feeling of hope and this feeling that somebody is sent down on us to save us and to help us kind of get along. And that's really where we are at the moment in these kind of really tumultuous times that we live in the moment. Like, we are living in an era of horrifying things happening day to day, and we need that symbol of hope really helping us. And we have had kind of Wanda be this symbol of, like, misunderstood villainy really recently, and I'm kind of wanting her to, I mean, if we kind of relate this back to Wanda, I'm just wanting the sense of, like, hopefulness and redemption, and the fact that, like, something good can come out of the world. Mm-hmm. And, like, if that can come from Wanda, that would be what would be great. I want that to also come from any other kind of superhero media, because at the end of the day, these superheroes are here to save us. Mm-hmm. And, like, we need that more than ever.
I think
that's what I want. I just want hope. I do.
I think the Fantastic Four might be, like, I am really hyped for Fantastic Four. I'm super hyped for Thunderbolt. I heard it's getting really great reviews, which is really good because I love Yelena. Yes. One of my second favorite Marvel characters. Love Bucky Barnes. Can't wait to see what they'll do with Century.
I love Florence Pugh.
I knew you were going to say that. I was literally waiting. I was like, I'm going to say Yelena and watch his eyes get bigger until he says. I'm interested to see what they can do with Ghost, because I think that was a really underused villain in Ant-Man. I think that she has a lot of potential.
Taskmaster as well.
Well, yeah. I just do love David Harbour. Like,
I want to see, I love to see, and I want to see it on the big screen, Julia Louis-Dreyfus eat up scenery, like Elaine Bennis, Seinfeld reference for those too old, too young.
See, I think of her as Veep.
Okay, Veep, yeah. What's the name of the character in Veep? Selena Myers, Elaine Bennis, Julia Louis-Dreyfus herself, eating up scenery.
That cunty little highlight.
Yes.
Cunty highlight.
And she sells it so well. And
in Avengers Tower in the trailer.
Yeah.
I just love the trailer. I'm going to say it. I'm a James Gunn hater. Always have been, always will be. Hated Guardians of the Galaxy. Never cared about them. Amy Lee made me watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to see Baby Groot. Like, that's the only reason I saw it. And I hated Guardians of the Galaxy 3, sobbed the whole way through, hate animal cruelty, couldn't hack it. Like, I can't, you got to be honest about House of M, so I had to be honest. So I'm so nervous that I'm going to be inundated with just James Gunn for everything for DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll probably go see Superman. Can't say I'm excited. Don't care about Superman.
Krypto?
I do love a dog.
Yeah.
I love Rachel. What's her name? Rachel Sennott, is it? No, no. Rachel Brosnan. Rachel Sennott is Shiva Baby. That's the only part, and also Nicholas Hoult Smash.
Yes.
The wig is so bad. The curly wig.
The Clark Kent one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is atrocious.
It's Clark Kent.
Why is he wearing a wig?
I've actually seen somebody say he's got himbo energy, and I can kind of see it. I
will keep my thoughts on it quiet because I like my head on my body. But I'm actually really excited about the Marvel slate this year. Really looking forward to see. Like, I'd love to be hopeful about the MCU. If we're talking about hope, I love to be hopeful about the MCU. I'm looking forward to Daredevil. Like, love
Born Again, Daredevil, Born Again. That's next year.
I cannot wait to see that. Looking forward to Marvel Zombies to see if I can. I don't like zombie programs, but can't wait to see Elizabeth Olsen return as Wanda for that show. Wonder Man. I
mean, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I mean, he deserves all the plaudits. Yeah, even I mean, not to say even I, but I definitely. But like, yeah, he. I can't wait to see him.
I think there's just so much to be excited about this year. There's very few projects on the slate that I'm not excited for.
I don't think we even have a Sony Spider-Man universe movie next year.
Have you not heard?
I know. No, I know.
I haven't seen Craven yet, and I'm so sad about it. I think I'm going to see it on Sunday. I'm looking forward to Craven.
Okay. No. I'm not giving my money to Sony. I'm really
it's
not.
Okay. They've decided. I think that it's admirable that they had no obligation not to show Spider-Man, and yet they chose not to.
Yeah,
they chose Madam Web.
They did.
They chose to make a movie where none of the Spider-Women were Spider-Women for the plot. Any of the plot of the movie. That is such a fun thing to have chosen.
I would like to see a proper Beyond the Spider-Verse teaser trailer.
Well, they're not releasing it next year. So
no, it's not next year. So it will be. Hopefully, it will be a teaser. Just want to see any kind of footage from Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I would like to see some kind of confirmation as to what is actually going on with the Tom Holland stuff.
I think that's decent. I think because they refuse to confirm anything new other than the Avengers movies at DC 23 this year or Comic-Con. I reckon all the big announcements are this year because their new thing is not announcing stuff too far ahead of time because then they have to make it. Even if it doesn't test well.
It is for me. It's like movie-wise, it's just hoping that I'm going to get something that's going to fulfill that need of like, I just want to feel something. Escape something again and not feel as I'm being bludgeoned for 3 hours like I was with, Black Adam, for example. I mean, like I know that came out a couple of years ago or a year ago, whenever that came out. But Jesus Christ, you want to be bludgeoned.
You can just go see Red One if you want to see.
Oh God, no.
What do you think of the news that Chris Evans will be back, and so will everybody's favorite character, Captain Carter?
Honestly, I don't care.
Clap if you care.
No, it is okay. So clap if you care. Like I'm like, okay, all right, guys, do something interesting with it. I guess you're just regurgitating old stuff now, and like just do me something new. Like you've had the emotional manipulation of seeing Chris Evans return on screen this year as a legacy character, and yeah, I think Chris Evans is on a movie star note. I think his post Marvel career has been shocking. He clearly can't pick a project,
which is so crazy because he was so good in that legal drama with Michelle from Downton Abbey. Michelle, whatever her name is. Me just not being able to remember actor's name. He was so good in is it called Saving Noah or whatever it's called. He was so good in that, and he was so good in Knives Out, which is so weird that he's been
Snowpiercer. He was great in Snowpiercer.
I don't understand it. My theory, and this is the bad place, is that they're going to use depowered Steve Rogers from the Captain Carter universe, and that's how he's going to return. And I've heard like Captain Hydra. I think it's all going to be like an Evil Avengers team. Yeah, I've heard that. I heard that was the original plan, which makes me sad because the only original Avenger who I feel actually, other than Bruce, who's still alive, who actually needs to come back would be Natasha, because her death made the least sense in terms of where she was in her story arc, because they never did anything with her when she was alive.
Yeah, the only time we got a Black Widow movie was after she died. And it was a flashback movie, but not the flashbacks anybody wanted. Yeah. Obviously, I love that movie. It's one of my favourite MCU movies, but it wasn't the one we'd all been praying for. Also, like, I saw Sebastian Stan, by the way, giving cracker of an interview after cracker of an interview and being ignored by everybody because of the Donald Trump movie.
honestly king. Like,
Different Man looks really good. I'm really interested to see that.
Nobody is having the career. He is. I saw someone saying he's the Robert Pattinson of the MCU.
Yeah, that's right.
But Robert Pattinson is the Sebastian Stan of DCU. Did you see that also they're saying that Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be the Batman of James Gunn's universe?
I get like these whole like universe, what's going to be in the universe shenanigans. Honestly, I've just given up caring at this point.
Who's your Batman fan cast?
What do you mean Batman fan cast? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what do I want to see in the Batman Part 2?
Who's your dream Batman?
I don't have a dream Batman.
You never think about who you want to play anyone.
I mean, I've often thought about who I'd love to see play Peter Parker.
Okay, go for it.
I mean,
it's now time for the commercial.
I don't really have.
You don't think about it?
Now I don't have one because like I don't keep up with like who's an upcoming star, who's like dream casting, all this kind of stuff.
Well,
like,
I think it's fun to.
No, I think it is a fun exercise. I think it is a fun
People
exercise.
People keep asking me. The thing is, I don't know any men. People keep asking me who I want to play Speed, and I'm like, I don't know any teenage boys. Why would I know any?
You don't keep up with the teenage boys.
The teenage boys. People will suggest people to me, and I'm like, I will Google it.
I mean, you need to like watch Disney Channel movies at this point, like to get who's the latest teenage.
I just don't know. I like see if you ask me about women. I wouldn't know any teenage girls because why would I know that?
Yeah, so
I'm an old lady.
I mean, like for me, I'm at the age now. I'm gonna say age now, but I'm at the mindset now where like instead of watching new movies day in day out and all this kind of stuff, I'm trying to go through like Robert Altman's work of the 1970s and like I'm trying to get through like Akira Kurosawa's movies. I'm trying to fill in all these.
Wicked.
Yeah, I'm trying to like fill in all these gaps of like all these old movies and like. So when someone comes up, when you're now saying to me, "Oh, name me who can play Iron Man, the next Iron Man," I don't know, Elliot Gould, Donald Sutherland, I don't know, like,
who that is.
Oh, okay, movie stars from the 70s, and we're like, okay, who do you want to play Batman? I don't know, Tom Cruise, like.
That is the bad place.
But that's an example, like an example of where I'm at.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about the only thing. Again, I'm a DC girls, so like. Obviously, I think a lot about where they're going to go with Wonder Woman because we need to move on.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see some roles recast. I will mourn forever not getting to see Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn with a Poison Ivy.
I was going to say, like, I would love to have seen a Birds of Prey 2 with Poison Ivy.
I can't believe that she turned down... You know that Margot Robbie had the opportunity to do Gotham Sirens or Birds of Prey, and she was persuaded to do Birds of Prey and not a Gotham Sirens movie. Your face. I wish that I did have a close up on that face. Okay. I remember. You want to know something awful?
I liked Birds of Prey a lot.
I loved Birds of Prey. I saw on a date with a guy and he didn't like it, and so I made an excuse to go home.
Oh, that's good. No, that's good. There was that reminds me of a great tweet I saw of somebody relaying a couple breaking up in a line.
Mm-hmm.
They're in like queuing up for something, and this guy just says, "I don't understand woman. It's just this woman who's just being powerful and this kind of stuff. I don't understand why everyone's just kicking up a fuss with it." And it's just I don't get you, Dan. I'm leaving you. Bye.
Mood.
And just like because and I think that's perfectly how it should be. Like if you're a guy and you think you have an opinion on a movie, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's certain people's Barbie opinions that I think should have ended relationships whether they did or not.
Yeah, I have a friend who has a Barbie opinion, and if he's listening to this, you know who you are.
Yeah, I'm a hater till I die.
Yeah.
if you want to know who I am, I'm a hater. But I just really want to see good. Like I am never rooting for a Marvel project to be bad. I will say if I think it is, but I'm never one preying on the MCU's downfall.
I don't want to see Brave New World fail because I love Harrison Ford. I think it's great that Harrison Ford is like, you know what? I'm 85 years old. I'm just going to be a CGI Hulk. I don't even know what Hulk is, but I just want to be a CGI Hulk and do something fun. And I like that he's doing that because Harrison Ford, typically known as the grumpy old man of Hollywood, and I love him for it. I
think that Brian Cox is really on his arse for that, though.
Oh, Brian Cox, yeah. Or Ridley Scott.
Every interview I see with Brian Cox is my favorite thing ever. I am so... did you hear that interview where he says people come up to me and ask me to tell them to F off, and so I do.
And then there was an amazing interview when the last Duel was doing the rounds, and there was a press thing. There was this guy who was talking about like not liking the realism on Exodus, and Ridley Scott just flat out just says "fuck off" to the interviewer. I'm like, yes, Ridley, great. And there's the basic thing with the interview was just like pointing out the scientific inaccuracy of all the sharks in the Colosseum, and Ridley Scott just tells him to shut the fuck up. It's like, who cares? I'm like, yes, that's how it should be done. Stop picking holes in these things.
It's so funny because I'm pretty sure that Brian Cox is beefing with Ridley Scott right now.
Yeah,
so we're literally like standing people in a beef. I just want to see Lizzie Olsen happy with her role in the MCU. I want them to take Wanda seriously as a character, and I think that it should be mandatory that everybody has to read the scripts of the characters that have come before them before they write a movie starring that character. I think that should be, well, we know. We're having show Bibles now. In terms of merch, I was very wrong about everything I thought was going to be released this year, because it was Wanda's 60th anniversary. You wouldn't know it by the merch levels. No. You would not know that.
Would not known that.
I am worried that, well, I'm not worried. I'm cautious. I'm optimistic, but I'm sad for me. It's also Age of Ultron's 10-year anniversary.
Next year.
Yeah, so I think we might see a Funko set of all of the Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
You know how they did a Civil War
build-a-scene?
I think we might get an Age of Ultron build-a-scene, which would be so good for poor Pietro, because he never got an Age of Ultron Funko.
Would it be him in front of a minigun, like...
Please go away. Actually, you're getting deleted as a co-host in season 2 for that one. We also, hopefully next year we'll have some really interesting interviews to do for you.
Yeah, I don't want to reveal too much though, just in case they don't happen.
I'm just teasing, having fun. I'm hoping to see. I'm thinking we're probably gonna get. We already have announced the House of M Wanda Funko, so I'm wondering if we might get a specialist statue. I hope that it does not get brought up because it's the 20th anniversary. I hope we're not 20 years every time Wanda tries to breathe this year. They're like, 20 years ago, you were causing drama, lady.
Yeah.
Though time doesn't tend to move the same in the actual comics, so I don't think that we'll see a huge... Besides, the mutants have bigger problems with what's going on with the end of Krakoa and everything that's happening there. But I'm very interested to see how Wanda's character will go forward in the comics and hopefully in the MCU. Hopefully this time next year, we'll be talking about... We know that Vision Quest starts filming this year, so we'll have to see. And I hope that Agatha All Along season 2 might also end up getting filmed this year. We know that Avengers Doomsday is filming this year. Lizzie is going to be here in Scotland, so... for a separate project, but I have heard Vision Quest is filming in London and Edinburgh, so maybe we will rattle ourselves down to that set, get ourselves in.
Maybe.
I'm just staring at Nick because he has connections. Maybe I should be nicer to everybody. But yeah, thank you so much for being with us this year, for all the support you've shown me on every app, for all the love. For hitting on Nick. That was really nice of you all. He really appreciated it. And we still want to hear from you. If you ever want to send us any mail, my business email is always open. Our DMs are always open. If you have suggestions for season 2 of this podcast, we would love to hear from you. Thank you to all of our new listeners. We just had a big spike. A lot of you are just joining us. And thank you. We love having you. Every single one of you is a member of the Wandaverse. And genuinely, this is just a love letter to you, because you've changed my life. You have made me feel so accepted and wanted by this community, and we are slowly converting Nick into a Wanda stan. This time next year, I hope he'll have a tattoo as well.
I'm not committing to that. I want to say congratulations for you this year on reaching 10K on TikTok. 13K on TikTok as it now stands. Hopefully that still means something by the end of January. And honestly, I want to thank all you listeners for listening. I mean, it's great to have a listener base that is engaged as you guys are.
If we got 1 million listens, would you get a Wanda tattoo?
I'm not doing that.
Why?
Because I've seen other podcasts. There was this guy, right? and I think it was Matt Singer, this film journalist Matt Singer, and he said something on the lines of, on Twitter, he said, "If Top Gun 2 ever happens, I'll eat a shoe." Right? And he said this back in like 2018, 2017, something like that. And lo and behold, Top Gun Maverick ended up not only getting filming, but getting released and
being very successful.
And being very successful. So he had to eat a shoe.
Okay.
A lesson is learned at that point. Do not commit to anything where you have to eat a shoe.
Do you think you would compare getting my tattoo to eating?
No. Tattoos for me will be a big thing because of who I am. So I'm not committing to a tattoo.
I'll face paint Nick if we get 1 million followers.
I mean, I'll do the face paint thing.
We'll put Nick in full Wanda cosplay for 1 million followers.
If we reach... All right, if we're going to make this serious. Okay, what are we on at the moment in terms of listens? Like 5k, 6k, somewhere around there? If at the end of next year we reach 100,000 100,000 listens on episodes, all of our episodes, I will full cosplay as Wanda with the makeup and everything.
Beautiful.
Okay,
that is perfect. I will.
This time next year has to be the end of 2025.
Deal.
I will commit to that, but that's only if we reach 100,000.
I will let you play the if they don't get a Scarlet Witch solo movie announced this year. I will dress up as a clown for our final episode next year. I will wear the full Boo Boo the clown, Boo Boo the full outfit. Okay. That's our. We'll make a tradition of it. This is our end of year bets. We'll go for it. Shall we go for it?
100,000.
Scarlet Witch solo movie or bust, or Agatha All Along season 2. One of my girls better get something. Okay. We love you so much. Have the happiest New Year, merriest Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Eid, whatever holiday you celebrate. We love you, support you. Ti amo. I've been Hannabeth Gardener. You can find me over at The Wonderverse on TikTok. No, Into The Wonderverse on TikTok, The Wonderverse on Instagram, The Wonderverse on Threads, all the apps, I'm there.
And I'm producer Nick, and you can find me on Blue Sky at Nick Hess Chandler. My website is superatomovision.com, and my TikTok, I guess, is the film Nick.
The merriest and happiest and most wonderful holidays to Lily, who did our beautiful, beautiful podcast art. Thank you to Melody Ray Griffiths for your wonderful music. And most of all, thank you to you guys. We love you all so much. And until I see you next, stay magical. End of season 1.